All right, welcome back. I've got an immediate reaction to the movie Skinamarink, and I'm trying something a little different with the audio, and hopefully it's not terrible. I'll re-record, I guess, if it's that bad. But I don't know how much effort I want to put into this review reaction to this movie. So Skinamarink is an independent horror film, suspense horror. I think horror would be the way they would categorize it. Um, and you know what? I was really excited coming over to this. I've been trying to see this for a few days now, and it just hasn't worked out. I was really, really excited. A horror movie, independent, that's not A24. All right. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Um, It starts out promising. The credits are very sort of, the opening credits, everything is right at the beginning. This film was made for $15,000. It was a Canadian film. I would like to know a little bit more about the story behind the making of this movie. That I think would be interesting. Um, I thought at the beginning it said that it was set in 1985. And so it was made with this sort of grainy film. And I thought, oh, cool, they're doing, setting it up with this 8 millimeters home camcorder style film. And it could be really cool. Look at, oh, the credits are throwback. Oh man, look, there's Lego that looks like it's from 1985. Well, dumbass me. This movie was actually set in 1995, which I figured out later. Um, and this movie was also made just over the last couple of years. It was first released in 2022. Looks like it went, to some independent um, film festivals, got leaked online. The guy, Kyle Edward Ball, who wrote and directed, was doing some YouTube stuff and, moved on to this. And sometimes with these, I think that what we see is we see a director, and I feel bad about this. I feel we see a director who gets their first shot, and it may not be great, but at least we see where they're going. We see what they can do. If this is what the guy has to offer, good for him that this got released. And it has made over $1 million, so, successful. Um, I think that there are moments and there are some parts of this that are compelling and that are good. If you've got a phobia of corners or doors, then maybe this movie is really scary. Um, I don't know that any part of it is what I would call scary. Now, there are some moments that I think are truly disturbing. However, they're very rare. Most of this movie is just literally staring at walls. The camera work and some of the special effects, I thought, again, going on this premise that it was 1985, I'm like, oh, okay, let's give them credit. They did a lot of work. Uh, my God, I'm not good at filmmaking, as you can tell. I'm not good at video editing. I'm not good at publishing, all that sort of thing. I just record myself and say whatever stupid thing I'm thinking of. Work was put into this movie, and man, it's not good. Um, I like the idea. So this movie basically is a mystery about what's going on. The problem, the failure, real failure, I think, of this movie is that it's fighting against its own technology. You don't get a real sense of what's going on because it's so hard to actually see or hear anything. And that seems to be an intentional design choice. I can see if maybe this was to look like a found footage 1995 film, then okay. But that's not what this was. It was just poorly made. And so it's about these two children, Kaylee and Kevin, who are far and away the best parts of this movie. And any sort of horror or terror or fear comes through these children. The parents are there or maybe there. Doors are there, but then disappearing, but then kind of come back, but then don't. It's never quite sure. So the failure of this film is not just in the quality of the actual recording. It's not in the very poor sound. It's not in someone literally off camera shaking a bunch of Lego to make it sound like there's something going on. Um, it's that it doesn't give you the information that you need. When you watch a film like this, you want in some way to figure out what's going on. I think that a movie like the American version of The Ring was successful because Samara, and I think I've said this in another video, was creepy and scary, and they didn't really explain what was going on. This movie, they don't explain what's going on, and there's no way for you to ever figure out what exactly happened or what was going on. And that is something that is just it's a failure. It's a lacking in the actual film making in the plot of this movie. So there's about 30 minutes of this film that I think is interesting, I think is great. I think that, I was watching it, I'm like, you know what? If somebody got a hold of this, if this guy gets another shot with actual cameras and with somewhat of a budget so that the blacks are black and the actual scary part of this film is based on the acting and the story and the scenario, and not that you're sitting there watching it. It's like if you're playing this old school video game and you're what it's challenging, but it's not challenging because it was designed that way. It's challenging because the technology just didn't exist. So that's the excuse that I was giving this movie until I found out a little bit more about it. And I don't know what excuse I can give to this movie now. It feels like it made itself to be a challenge to watch. I think if you take away some of the film school bullshit and the long shots, literally like seconds and minutes of just staring at doors, and by the end of the film, I'm getting a little worked up here, but by the end of the film, when everything has been turned upside down, like literally turned upside down, they turn the camera over and they're recording from the ceiling, where that's that the world has turned upside down. I mean, come on. Sophomore in high school could come up with something more creative than that. I am really sorry. If you enjoyed this movie, that's great. I've gone really long on this. The more I think about it, the more I get a little annoyed and angry. Do I regret seeing it? Yeah, a little bit. I think, you know, after those first credits, I started looking at what is the time of this movie? An hour and 40 minutes when there's 30 minutes of probably good film. Um, no, I didn't walk out, and I feel like I probably should have. Um, because there's not really a payoff. Um, so if you have seen it, please let me know what you think. If I'm completely wrong, maybe I'm just not good at film. Maybe I just don't understand movies. Maybe I just don't know art. I don't think that this is. I think this is one of those cases where people can say, "Oh, well, it's artistic, and so you don't understand." But no, I don't. I don't know that it is. Um, Man, there's other movie. I could go into other movies that do the same idea so much better, but I've spent so much time on this. And thank you if you're still watching or if you have watched. I do really appreciate that. And if you have seen it and you agree or disagree or whatever, please let me know. I would appreciate some conversation about this film at least. All right, thank you very much. Um, Stay away from this movie. Have a good night.